Okay, let me tell you about my uncle's place. I'm Joe Carson. Never thought my life would take this turn. When the lawyer called after Uncle Hank passed, I figured it'd be simple. Maybe some old photos, a bit of cash. Instead, a whole 15-acre farm on the edge of Willow Creek, a town I barely remembered from childhood visits. Came with a big old farmhouse, a classic red barn, seen better days, honestly, fields, sheep, even a few cows. Timing was perfect, actually. I was burned out on my city job, meetings, deadlines, packed subways, the whole soul-crushing routine. The idea of starting fresh, out in the quiet? Man, it sounded like heaven. When I finally drove out to Willow Creek, it felt like stepping back in time. Winding country roads, clean air, birds singing instead of sirens. Pulling up to the farm, nostalgia hit hard. I remembered running through those fields as a kid. The farmhouse looked a little tired, paint peeling, but still had that rustic charm. The barn stood tall, an old tractor parked beside it like a museum piece. I barely had time to take it all in when I heard gravel crunch behind me. Turned around, and there's this woman marching towards me, high heels clicking, looking like she means business. Early 50s, sharp blazer, clipboard, the works. Her eyes locked onto me like I was an insect she was about to squash. "You must be Joe," she said, her voice crisp, all business. "I'm Jennifer Matthews, president of the Willow Creek Homeowners Association." I blinked. "Oh, hi. Nice to meet you. I didn't realize this farm was part of an HOA. Her smile was thin, razor sharp. "Oh, it most certainly is. Your uncle's property falls within our development boundaries, subject to HOA rules and dues. I've been meaning to discuss this for years, but..." She glanced pointedly at the farmhouse. "Your uncle wasn't exactly cooperative." My frown deepened. "I see. Well, I just inherited the place, still figuring things out." "No matter," she said briskly, flipping through her clipboard like she was swatting a fly. "I've prepared an itemized list of outstanding dues and fines. 7 years' worth. Unfortunately, your uncle failed to comply with several regulations. As the new owner, these obligations fall to you." She handed me a sheet of paper crammed with numbers and legal jargon. The total at the bottom punched me in the gut. $24,765. "What?" I sputtered. $24,000? There has to be a mistake. My uncle didn't live under HOA rules, did he? Her smile tightened even more. "The documents are clear. The farm is within our jurisdiction. Your uncle was notified repeatedly. Violations include non-standard fencing, unauthorized livestock, a barn exceeding height restrictions, to name a few. It's your responsibility now to fix the property and settle the balance." I stared at her, completely baffled. "This is ridiculous. None of this makes sense. I need to see those documents you mentioned." "I'll have copies sent," she replied smoothly, already turning away. "But I should warn you, failure to address these issues promptly will result in additional penalties. Liens on the property, for example." She strode back to her sleek black SUV without another word, leaving me standing there, paper in hand, head spinning. As she drove off, frustration surged through me. Inherited a farm, not a mountain of debt. An HOA claiming jurisdiction over a farm? It smelled rotten. I wasn't just going to roll over. I spent the next few hours tearing through Uncle Hank's files, drawers, boxes, cabinets. Found tax records, the deed, even a note about fixing the barn roof. But nothing, absolutely nothing, about HOA membership or dues. As the sun set, I sat down with my laptop, determined. A quick online search revealed tons of stories about aggressive HOAs using shady tactics to grab properties. I started getting a bad feeling Jennifer's claims were part of something bigger. Then, my phone buzzed. Text message. Unknown number. "Welcome to the neighborhood. Jennifer Matthews. Just a friendly reminder to review the HOA regulations I mentioned. Counting on you to maintain community standards." The sheer audacity. She didn't see me as a neighbor. She saw me as a mark, a problem to be solved, preferably by coughing up cash. I set my phone down, mind racing. One thing was crystal clear. If Jennifer Matthews thought I was just going to pay up without a fight, she was dead wrong. Tomorrow, I was digging into this so-called HOA and its president. If Jennifer wanted a battle, she was damn well going to get one. Woke up the next morning, birds chirping, sun shining, but that peaceful feeling was gone, replaced by a simmering anger. Jennifer Matthews, the clipboard, the outrageous bill, it all felt like a bad dream, but it was real. I wasn't going to let them intimidate me. First stop, Town Hall. Had to see the public records myself. If this farm was legally part of the HOA, there had to be proof. Armed with Uncle Hank's deed and the other papers I'd found, I drove into town. The Willow Creek Town Hall was a quaint little place. The receptionist, Marjorie, was polite enough. Looking for property records, I explained, specifically anything linking my uncle's farm to the Willow Creek HOA. Marjorie directed me to the records office. Let me know if you need help, she offered. I spent the next hour digging through dusty binders and clicking through digital files. Deed description? Clear boundaries, no overlap with the subdivision. Title history? No mention of HOA covenants. Established date? Decades before the HOA even existed. Everything confirmed my gut feeling. Just as I was packing up, Marjorie popped her head in, holding a folder. Overheard you asking about the HOA, she said. These are their filings with the town. Might help. I thanked her and flipped through it. Mostly boring stuff, minutes, bylaws. But then, a map, dated 5 years ago. It showed the HOA boundaries, and my farm property line was drawn just inside their border. It completely contradicted the official county map I had. Something fishy was definitely going on. Next stop, the library. Uncle Hank once mentioned the farm always being independent, even when houses started popping up nearby. If the HOA somehow grabbed it, it had to be shady. The library was quiet. Found the local history section, started sifting through old newspapers. Bingo. Found articles from 7 years back about the HOA's formation. Headline: New HOA sparks controversy over property lines. The article talked about contested boundaries, legal battles, even accusations of the HOA falsifying documents to include land they didn't own. This was it. They had a history of this crap. I snapped photos of the articles. On my way back, I stopped at the local diner. Got chatting with the waitress, Beth. Friendly woman, seemed to know everyone. You're Hank's nephew, right? She asked when I mentioned the farm. Remember your uncle? He hated that HOA. Tell me about it. I nodded, trying to figure out why they think the farm belongs to them. Beth leaned in. Oh, Jennifer Matthews runs that HOA like her personal fiefdom. Always looking for more control. A lot of folks don't like her, but they're scared. She's got connections, knows how to make life hell if you cross her. Find a guy last year cause his mailbox was the wrong shade of blue. This confirmed my suspicions. Jennifer was used to getting her way through bullying. Well, she'd picked the wrong guy this time. Back at the farm, I spread everything out. The deed, the town records, the suspicious map, the newspaper articles. It was clear Jennifer was playing a long game, hoping to wear me down. I found a local attorney online, Emma Collins, good reviews for fighting HOAs. Emailed her everything. Also drafted a letter to the HOA, formally requesting proof of their jurisdiction and an explanation for their claims. Sent it certified mail. By the time I finally crashed that night, I felt exhausted but strangely energized. Jennifer Matthews might be used to steamrolling people, but she'd underestimated me. I wasn't just fighting for land. I was fighting for my family's history, for what was right. The next morning, I woke up to the sound of a truck pulling into my driveway. Looked out the window. White truck. Local landscaping company logo. 3 guys unloading hedge trimmers, shovels, blueprints. My blood ran cold. I hurried outside. What's going on here? I asked the nearest guy. He looked up from his clipboard. HOA orders. Trim hedges, clear the barnyard, remove unauthorized structures. Unauthorized structures? I felt my chest tighten. Yes, I'm the owner. And you're not touching a thing until I talk to whoever sent you. He shrugged. Gotta take it up with the HOA president. We just follow orders. Jennifer. Of course. I dialed her number, the one she'd so helpfully texted me. Good morning, Joe, she answered, sickeningly sweet. What you can do, I said, struggling to keep my voice level, is explain why landscapers are on my property. She didn't miss a beat. Oh, that's part of our enforcement process. Your property violates guidelines. As president, I'm authorized to take corrective action. I haven't even had a chance to respond. I snapped. And this farm isn't part of your HOA. Now, Joe, she said, that patronizing tone back. We've gone over this. Your uncle's property was incorporated years ago. File an appeal if you like, but the work proceeds. I hung up, furious. Turned back to the workers. You're done here. Pack up and leave, or I call the sheriff. They exchanged uneasy looks. After a tense moment, the foreman sighed, motioned for his crew to load up. As they drove away, I felt a small victory, but knew this was just round 1. I called Emma immediately. Classic HOA overreach, she said calmly after I explained. Good news is, if they're acting illegally, we can stop them. Bad news, it might take time. What do I do now? I asked. Document everything, Emma advised. Photos, conversations, letters. Don't let them intimidate you into paying or changing anything. Stand your ground. I spent the rest of the day doing just that. Took pictures of the farm, saved Jennifer's texts, printed the HOA letters. By sunset, I had a thick evidence folder. But Jennifer wasn't done. Next morning, bright red notice taped to my door. Final warning. Listed alleged violations: unauthorized livestock, excessive vegetation, unapproved structures. Fine, $5,000, due in 30 days. I ripped it off the door, jaw clenched. Scare tactics. I decided to dig deeper into the HOA's history, hoping for that smoking gun. That afternoon, I went back to the county records office. Spent hours sifting through old maps, deeds, surveys. Just when I was losing hope, I found it. A file labeled Willow Creek Development Expansion, 2016. Inside, a document detailing the HOA's attempt to annex properties. The annexation was approved for most surrounding land, but explicitly excluded my uncle's farm. There it was, in black and white. I felt a surge of triumph. This was the proof I needed. I scanned the document, emailed it straight to Emma. Her reply came fast. This is exactly what we need, Joe. I'll draft a cease and desist letter demanding they stop immediately and request a meeting to present this evidence. Stay vigilant. They won't back down easily. As the days passed, I braced myself. Jennifer didn't disappoint. A week later, a certified letter from the HOA's attorney demanding immediate payment of all fines and threatening foreclosure. But I was ready. With Emma's help, we drafted a formal response, disputing their claims, citing the annexation document. We also filed a complaint with the county about the HOA's fraudulent practices. The tension peaked when Jennifer showed up at the farm again, unannounced, with 2 board members and a police officer in tow. She demanded to inspect the property. I stood my ground. Unless you have a warrant or court order, you're trespassing. Leave now, or I press charges. The police officer, looking uncomfortable, intervened. Ma'am, he said to Jennifer, he's within his rights. You need legal authority. Jennifer turned red but had to retreat. As they walked back to their car, I felt a flicker of vindication. I had the upper hand. That evening, watching the sunset, I allowed myself a small smile. Jennifer underestimated me. The fight was far from over, but for the first time, I felt confident I could win. The cease and desist letter, backed by the 2016 annexation document proving my farm was exempt, should have been the end of it. But Jennifer Matthews and the Willow Creek HOA weren't interested in facts or legality. They were interested in power and, as I suspected, money. My lawyer, Emma, had warned me they wouldn't go quietly, and she was right. A few days after receiving our letter, instead of backing down, they retaliated. Not with another bogus fine, but with something far more insidious. I woke up one morning to find a large, professionally made wooden sign hammered into the ground right at the entrance to my driveway, near the main road. Bold letters proclaimed, non-compliant property, subject to HOA enforcement. It was clearly designed to shame and intimidate me, broadcasting their fabricated dispute to anyone passing by. My blood boiled. This wasn't just harassment anymore. It felt like defamation, a public branding based on lies. I immediately called Emma. They're doubling down, Joe, she said, her voice tight with controlled anger after I described the sign. This is beyond petty. It's malicious. We need to escalate. What do we do? I asked, pacing my porch. File an injunction, Emma stated firmly. We need a court order immediately to prevent them from taking any further action like this while the jurisdiction issue is formally resolved. We'll also add this incident to our evidence of harassment. While Emma filed the injunction paperwork, I took matters into my own hands regarding the sign. It was on the edge of my property, yes, but clearly placed there without my permission. I grabbed some tools from the barn, marched down the driveway, and started dismantling the damn thing myself. Took about an hour of prying and pulling, but finally, the offending sign lay in pieces by the side of the road. Felt damn good. Of course, Jennifer didn't let that slide. The very next day, another certified letter arrived, this time accusing me of vandalism of HOA property, the sign, and threatening further legal action if I didn't pay for its replacement. Let them try, Emma said when I told her. The sign itself was a legal placement on or near your property as part of their harassment campaign. They have no grounds. The injunction was granted a few days later. The court issued a temporary order barring the HOA from placing signs, issuing fines, sending notices, or taking any enforcement action against my property until the core issue of jurisdiction was settled in court. It was a small victory, a temporary ceasefire, but it bought us breathing room. During this lull, Emma focused on discovery, formally requesting internal documents, emails, and financial records from the HOA. This is where things got really interesting. The documents they were forced to produce revealed a shocking level of calculated maneuvering. Internal emails showed Jennifer Matthews and the board discussing my uncle's property long before he passed away. They saw the farm as an obstacle to their expansion plans and were actively looking for ways to gain control. When Uncle Hank died, they saw their chance. The emails detailed their strategy: use the vacancy as an excuse to claim abandonment, even though I inherited it quickly, levy bogus fines based on their inapplicable bylaws, and then use the manufactured debt to justify a lien and eventual foreclosure if I didn't pay up or sell cheap. They specifically mentioned targeting me because I was an outsider from the city, likely unfamiliar with local politics and possibly lacking the resources to fight back. "This is huge, Joe," Emma said, excitement in her voice as she shared the findings. "This proves intent. It wasn't a mistake or a misunderstanding. It was a deliberate scheme to defraud you out of your property." Armed with this damning evidence, Emma amended our lawsuit, adding counts of fraud, conspiracy, and intentional infliction of emotional distress. The stakes were higher now. This wasn't just about property rights, it was about exposing criminal behavior. As the main court date approached, the atmosphere in Willow Creek grew tense. My case had become the talk of the town. The HOA, facing mounting legal pressure and public outrage, started to fracture. Rumors flew about infighting on the board, members distancing themselves from Jennifer. The trial itself felt like a culmination of months of stress and struggle. The courtroom was packed. Jennifer Matthews sat at the defense table, flanked by her lawyers, her usual smug confidence replaced by a tight-lipped anxiety. Emma presented our case brilliantly. She laid out the timeline, the evidence of the farm's exemption, the HOA's history of overreach, the harassing notices, the illegal sign, the attempted tow, the vandalism of my fence, which we now suspected was orchestrated by them, and finally, the explosive internal emails proving their conspiracy. When Jennifer took the stand, Emma's cross-examination was relentless. She confronted Jennifer with her own emails, her own contradictory statements. Jennifer tried to deflect, to justify her actions as being for the good of the community, but her credibility crumbled under the weight of the evidence. She looked flustered, cornered. The HOA's lawyers tried to argue technicalities, tried to paint me as unreasonable, but it was no use. The facts were overwhelmingly on our side. After several days of testimony, the judge delivered her verdict. She didn't mince words. She found the Willow Creek HOA guilty on all counts: fraud, trespass, harassment, conspiracy. She declared the HOA had no jurisdiction over my farm, nullified all fines, and ordered them to pay significant damages, both compensatory for the actual harm done and punitive to punish their malicious conduct. The amount was staggering, enough to seriously cripple the HOA financially. The judge also referred the case to the county prosecutor's office, recommending criminal charges be investigated against Jennifer Matthews and other board members involved in the forgery and conspiracy. Walking out of that courthouse, I felt like I could finally breathe again. It wasn't just relief, it was vindication. Justice, slow and hard-fought, had prevailed. Emma gave me a hug. "We did it, Joe. We really did it." The aftermath was swift. Jennifer Matthews was forced to resign in disgrace, facing potential criminal charges. The HOA, leaderless and financially strained, was thrown into chaos. Residents demanded reforms, and a new, more responsible board was eventually elected. The half-built houses on my property? The developer, Westland Partners, facing their own legal troubles for colluding with the HOA, agreed to demolish them and restore the land as part of a settlement. It took months, but eventually, my farm began to heal. The construction scars faded, replaced by green grass. I finally planted that orchard Uncle Hank would have loved. Life slowly returned to the quiet rhythm I'd sought years ago. The fight was long, brutal, and cost me more than just money. But standing on my porch now, looking out at the land that was truly, undeniably mine, I know it was worth it. I stood up to bullies. I fought for what was right, and in the end, truth and determination won. My uncle's legacy was safe. And maybe, just maybe, my fight helped ensure no one else in Willow Creek would have to endure the same nightmare.